from this to this and finally to this. Welcome back to NobleArts. Today I'm going to show you my process on how I take a regular CD and get it ready for a dot mandala. I start with just a regular CD or DVD, and then I make sure the surface is really clean. I use hand sanitizer to clean it, just because I have a lot of it. I just dab a little bit on a rag and clean up any oils or dirt that are left behind on the CD. And once it's all clean and dry, I'm ready to paint. I use a multi-surface paint as a base layer. It really adheres to the CD, and it gives a nice base for the regular acrylic to stick to. My go-to paint for this is the FolkArt. Love it. I use a small foam roller to apply the base coat. That gives it a nice smooth surface. I roll on the paint around the center circle hole first, and then you can actually just use the case to hold the CD while you paint the rest. And just a light coat over the whole surface and let it dry for, about 4 hours. Once the base is fully dry, I'm ready for the second coat. You can apply any regular acrylic paint. I'm using a DecoArt Crafter's acrylic in black. Again, I'm going to use the foam roller to apply the paint, and I'm going to let that dry for about 24 to 48 hours before I even think about marking my guidelines. I learned the hard way that if you don't let your base paint dry fully before you mark your guidelines, you're going to have a heck of a time removing them after your project is done. Oh, and I forgot to tell you before I do anything, I take a drill and I put a hole in the CD, and this can be used for hanging. You can use whatever you like to hang it up. I just purchased some Christmas tree ornament hangers, but you can use string, wool, even necklaces, whatever you like. And then if you want to, you can add an additional hole onto the CD. Then you can hang one of these pre-made tassels on it. And now I'll show you how I mark up the guidelines. One of my favorite markers is this Fons & Porter Taylor chalk pencil. It's a mechanical pencil, it's really soft, and it's just the one I like the best. But if my background is a little bit lighter, I also really like the Staedtler watercolor pencils. They're great for marking, and they come off perfectly with just a damp cloth. And I also have a set of these inexpensive Yoke chalk pencils. They're great too. But for this demonstration, I'm going to use my Fons & Porter mechanical chalk pencil. Now for marking out my CDs, I have two stencils that I use. I use one because I like the 16 sections, and I use the other because I like how many circle guidelines it gives me. The first one I like to use is the Happy Dotting Company silicone template. This is perfect for CDs, tea light holders, stones, really anything. I just find the 16 pie-shaped guidelines on here are perfect for this size of project. And this one here I think I got from Amazon. I think it came with a set of dotting tools. The reason I like this one is just it has more circle guidelines, so for this size of project it works great. I always start by marking out the pie-shaped grid lines first. So I'll line up the hole that I drilled with the template and center it along the hole in the center of the CD. And I just use my chalk pencil to mark little marks all along the edges, and then I'll use a ruler to connect them. Now I use a ruler to connect the lines. The easiest way I've found to use a ruler is you put your pencil on the first mark and you move your ruler up to it and you lock that in. Then you move your ruler so that it's in line with the mark on the other side, and then you go from mark to mark. This ensures you have a nice straight line from edge to edge. So now I use this second stencil to do the circle guidelines, and I line up the center of the CD with the center of the template. And you'll see that that first row of the circle guideline, it actually lines up with the groove in a lot of CDs. So you don't have to mark that first circle guideline. So I start on the second one and I just mark all the way around to the outer edge. And once all the marks are transferred over, it's a good idea just to give it a nice wipe to make sure you get off any little bits. I learned this the hard way too, that any bits of chalk that are left on your base paint will misshapen your dots when you try to dot over them. And what I tend to do is prep anywhere from 10 to 20 CDs at a time. That way I have a stockpile whenever the mood to dot hits me. Well, I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel, and if you'd like to support NobleArts, the links are below. I hope you have a great day, and as always, keep calm and noble on. And then if you want, you can add an additional hole in the CD, and then you can hang one of these pre-made Now, if I'm doing a background that's a little bit longer, longer, lighter, same thing. Now this pink one I have is the happy darting